Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the fifth of our educational series for the U.S. Super Yacht Association. My name is Kitty McGowan. I'm the president of USSA. Hello, Ms. Pippa. And
It's upside down.
Leave it to Pippa. We're welcome you all here. As it's like 2 months of crazy COVID lockdown, and we're so excited to have you here once a week to be able to bring you up to speed on the latest and greatest in ways that you can help your business in these changeable and constantly moving times. And I'm very excited that we have a great program today. But while I have you this afternoon today, also what's happening, and you can find all this information on the USSA website. That's ussuperyacht.com, ussuperyacht.com. The Palm Beach International Virtual Boat Show is happening today as well. So I encourage you to at least stop by and take a look and see what they're doing, as well as the American Boating Congress. This is the virtual version, clearly, of our annual trip to Washington, D.C., where the U.S. industry gets together and helps to educate our members of Congress about the importance of our industry. So while we won't be able to have opportunity face-to-face with these particular legislators and such, it will give us an opportunity to hear what's going on in their heads. God only knows in Washington these days. But I encourage you to participate, and I believe that's at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and the boat show goes on pretty much the rest of the day. And then next Thursday, same time, same channel, we have a great program on Are You Ready to Open, and protecting you as a business owner from some of the different aspects because of the world changing so rapidly. Are your insurance carriers up to speed on any coverages you need to protect you against COVID? What are your legal obligations to your employees and to your team to protecting them from the business perspective, as well as some really cutting edge and some innovative ways that you can work to protect your employees, team, staff, family from not only the coronavirus, but from viruses and bacteria in general. So next week is another one, which is about how to protect yourself. But today we're here to say this 3 times fast: pivot purposefully in these changing times. And God knows that that's that nonstop word that we're constantly doing these days. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce today the Vice President of the U.S. Super Yacht Association, head of our education committee, and owner and president of megayachtnews.com, Diane Byrne. Diane, take it away.
Just had to unmute myself. Sorry about that, everybody. Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We're really thrilled to have you here and really looking forward to giving you some actionable items to start putting into practice straight away. You can actually start on these tips today. I want to introduce our speakers to you and give you a little bit of background as to why they are here. We have Donna Miller, who is the president and founder of C3 Workplace. She is up here in the Garden State, aka New Jersey, just like I am. Donna is additionally a sought-after speaker and an educator who is very passionate about helping small businesses thrive. And our other speaker, also from the Northeast, is Victoria Isley. Victoria is the Chief Sales and Marketing Officer for Bermuda Tourism Authority. The reason the two of them are here is really quite simple. I have been on the receiving end of their communications for some time, and not only do they do a good job in a quote-unquote normal world, but particularly over the past several weeks, they and their teams have really struck a great balance between delivering a message and calming messages at that, and understanding how to market in this new world that we're in. It really sounds like a cliche, but we want you to understand, if it's not already in your brain, that there is no going back to doing what you did. This is not like a recession where in 3 months' time, poof, everything's going to be back the way it was. This is a new normal. Again, another cliche, but it's the truth. The other idea is that even outside of this being a virus-oriented crisis, these tips that we're going to give you today are tips that you should just keep in mind in general. Every couple of years, you have an opportunity to, as our title presentation says, pivot purposefully. You don't have to go and do a 180. It really is sometimes just a matter of kind of moving slightly to the left or to the right and going in a different path. So that said, I wanted also to give you an idea of why this was so important, particularly to me also as a communicator. I saw a fantastic video that really hit the nail on the head a couple weeks ago. Some of you may be familiar with the speaker Simon Sinek. If you don't know the name, jot it down. His last name is S-I-N-E-K. He is a brilliant speaker and marketer. He filmed a Zoom call with his team, and it was just phenomenal. It was all about how the company and how the individuals within the company were really going to have to take charge of change. And I want to share with you his exact words because it just really spoke to me. He said, "These are not unprecedented times. More sudden? Absolutely. More shocking? Absolutely, without a doubt. But this is not unprecedented in the business world," meaning that there have been extraordinary circumstances that have reared their ugly heads over the years that have put companies like ours in extraordinarily challenging positions. However, companies have, again, pivoted time and time again and succeeded and thrived coming out on the other side. So we're going to give you 5 topics or 5 tips basically so that you can thrive coming out of this. First and foremost, communications. Any external communications with your customers really needs to start internally. Your internal communications have to be locked in and rock solid. So Donna, I'd love for you to give an example of how you have been communicating with your team, and then Victoria, we can jump to you.
Sure. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. And to piggyback on Simon Sinek, I just put in the chat.
Oops, she's muted.
There we go. I don't know why I was muted. Sorry. Okay. There's a video by Simon Sinek I highly recommend that you watch. It's called "How Great Leaders Inspire." Can we ask Gabrielle to mute? Gabrielle? Okay, great. All right. So the question is internal and external communication. So I believe that great companies are built on great culture. And I believe that great culture starts with your values. That's your why. That's what Simon Sinek talks a lot about. So for me, there cannot be a disconnect between my internal and my external communications. I have to be the same person where I am. So what I'm doing internally with my team, I have a small team. I have about 10 people who work for me. We've always had a fair amount of remote operations. I have 2 locations in New Jersey, but most of my people work at home. So working remotely was not new to us, but staying connected in this environment is definitely more of a challenge. So what I have begun to do, and funny, Diane, you should say this, internally and externally, is I am using video as a way to communicate with my team. I send a weekly message to my team, and I give them updates on what's going on with the company. I tend to be very transparent because if you have people who work for you, they're smart people and they know these are challenging times. So I do talk about the challenges that we're facing, but I'm also talking about the solutions that we are putting in place to address those challenges. And externally, I'm also using video to communicate because statistics indicate that humans can process picture 70 times quicker than text. So I think even though we're all a little Zoom fatigued, there is a real place for video in your communication. So I do it internally, and externally, I am posting 2 videos a week. They are all messages of hope, but it's hope in the form of strategy, hope in the form of execution, hope in the form of assessing. I'm very strategic about how I run my business, and I encourage all my clients to do the same thing. So my internal and my external communications are really very similar. I'm using video, and it's connecting and it's engaging and it's being received very well.
Great. I love what you had to say about being very transparent too, because it's a term that gets used a lot these days, and it has, I think in some respects, it's not really being practiced. And I think that's out of fear. A lot of companies think, oh, well, if we say that we're struggling, then that's going to make everybody nervous and they're all going to be running for the hills. In a scenario like we're in today, a lot of companies are struggling. It is like you said, if they're smart, they know. So I think the more that we are just leveling with the employees, but looking for a strategy also, like you said, as opposed to the hand wringing, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? That goes a long way.
Yeah, and that transparency is also my way of inviting them in to co-create a solution. And that's when you really start to create big change.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Victoria, how about you? How are you and your team communicating internally, and how are you taking that to the greater audience that you're reaching? Oops. There we go.
Okay, are you able to hear me now?
Yep, now we can.
Okay, perfect. All right, the power of being the moderator. And I promise Donna and I have never met before, nor did we compare notes before this. The role of a destination marketing organization or tourism board, which is what the Bermuda Tourism Authority is, really is the same in this environment, although the messaging has certainly changed and the audience has changed in some ways. But the first out of the gate for us is transparency. So that's pretty interesting. And as a destination marketing organization, it's a reliable source for updates that affect global travel and tourism plans. And that is primarily our role as an external source. And we very much value that internally as well. That transparency is really important. We have a part of our team based in New York metro area and part of our team based in Bermuda. So we're always fighting that geographic divide, which is a challenge, but that transparency is really important, particularly in these times, because you just shouldn't be hiding information from your team, particularly in the tourism space, which is, as we all know, is devastated. At the same time, as a leader and as a DMO, to be a source of hope, inspiration, and reassurance that these are rocky times by a long stretch. I've been in the tourism industry more than 20 years and was in Washington, D.C. post 9/11, and this is worse for the tourism industry, as devastating as that was. But that reassurance, truth and transparency with reassurance is really paramount and key. And that's with our internal team members as well as with Bermuda fans and visitors. And then to be a destination advocate or an organizational advocate. Because these are really tough personal experiences that people are going through, it's a really tough business environment. We just had a session with our hotel partners yesterday where news we were sharing was pretty sobering. And so internally with our team members as well as externally with our stakeholders and partners is allowing people time to breathe and process and not just move to solution quickly, because it's pretty sobering is the best word I can use given the times that we're in. But it's also being an advocate for where people can find resources, thinking about ways that those visitors to Bermuda and longtime Bermuda fans can support Bermuda while they can't visit there right now. and also thinking about how we can talk with our internal team members about being the same. So it is a little schizophrenic, but it is also, to Donna's point, it is the same person. You have to be the same human being, but you're also working to be able to measure the times in terms of when it's time to let people breathe, when it's time to move forward.
Right, right. Talk a little bit too about how you brought your stakeholders on the business side and the consumers together in terms of giving that ray of hope for the future and the advocacy, really, in a sense, for the tourism industry with the portal that you all created on gotobermuda.com. I loved the way that you guys phrased it. It was, if travelers who love Bermuda can't come to us, we'll take Bermuda to them. So talk a little bit about what you did under that umbrella, so to speak.
Sure. So from the time around mid-March when everything was starting to develop, we were first still on the DMO side of advocating and messaging to visitors. So visitors who were still on island, visitors who were thinking about purchasing their travel still to Bermuda. I was in Bermuda until March 17th, and then the island closed its borders midnight of March 20th. So Diane, what you're referencing was a pivot that we actually took from our primary role as a destination marketing organization in inspiring people to choose Bermuda to a destination management organization focus, which was really working with our stakeholders on, as things were starting to constrict, what businesses were still open, what services they were able to provide. So we started a stakeholder survey so we could understand which restaurants were closing, which restaurants were still providing curbside pickup or delivery, which hotels had long-term guests that were still going to remain open for a certain number of rooms for inventory, what businesses were providing delivery. So that pivot from destination marketing outward to destination management was really manifested in that page that you referenced. Mm-hmm. And so coming out of this, Bermuda was on a 4-week shelter in place for its residents while borders were closed. Bermuda's borders are still closed, but the shelter in place has now, it's been off for a week, and we're in phase 1 of recovery. So restaurants are now reopening, although fewer of them, for curbside delivery and pickup. So we had a great Bermuda takeout day that was promoting that before shelter in place, and now we're actually today announcing our second great Bermuda takeout day that will support more than 24 restaurants on the island that are open for business, and we're announcing that today. That will then be for May 21st next week.
Great.
So what was on the downward spiral, now we're working together and collaboratively to dial things back up, and so now that page is has a new chapter in terms of what kind of information we're going to be sharing there.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah. So that's all part of the ongoing evolution, really, that can continue even past the coronavirus period. Good. Good. Let's go to our second subject, our second group of tips. And this is all about marketing. Marketing being more than selling. It's really about service. There was a Forbes article I'd like to give you a quote from that, again, hit the nail on the head. It said, living through a pandemic means companies need to be sensitive to how they sell. It's a time of service and community building for companies around the world. Donna, can you speak a little bit to that and how you're tackling that, and how maybe some of the companies that you work with also may be tackling that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the C3 stands for Connect, Collaborate, Community. I firmly believe in the power of collaboration. I believe that if we can help more people connect and collaborate, They grow, we grow. It's a win-win-win. So what we did when this first started, and Victoria, it's funny, I'm not surprised Diane has us on the same call, because you did your portal. We wanted to be a resource. So we created a resource page on our website where we started to aggregate information that was coming at this fire hose rate. But the other thing that we did from a marketing perspective was we decided, you know, every day I get up and my goal is to try and make the world a better place, seriously. So I said, all right, we've got a lot of expertise in helping companies to start and grow. We started doing some pro bono consulting. And so we wanted to be a resource, and we wanted to be solution oriented. And from a marketing perspective, that pro bono consulting helped us to engage with our clients, and it helped us to offer some new mixes of services. So we were doing a ton of Zoom pro bono training, which led to us doing some consulting and helping organizations who had only ever done face-to-face meetings now do Zoom meetings. And that's an ongoing project that we're working with clients. So I think in the marketing realm today, it is not about selling. If there ever was a time to not sell, it's now. However, there's never been a more important time to understand your target market's pain and how you might present a solution for them. And I think the other thing for all of us in the marketing arena right now, we're doing, our clients are doing it, is determine who your centers of influence are. This is an unprecedented opportunity to get face time with those centers of influence and see how you can collaborate to help each other. So, you know, kind of short version, it's about being solution oriented and finding ways to collaborate to create those solutions. That's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, definitely. Victoria, how about you? What have you been doing in terms of the service? You touched on it obviously with the Go to Bermuda portal and how now you're changing that up. Is there anything else that you've been doing, or is there maybe a little deeper dive you can give us in terms of the service versus selling?
Sure. For a tiny island out in the middle of the ocean, it's 21 square miles and just 65,000 residents. The island itself is a precious resource, as is the community that really delivers genuine hospitality. So for us, as a tourism board, knowing that borders were closing, we actually paused paid media or advertising the middle of March, which included boosting social posts, any kind of paid media. But that did not mean that we stopped caring or communicating. And I think those are the two keys for us, is that Bermuda for generations has supplied folks from the likes of Mark Twain and Georgia O'Keeffe to John Lennon and David Bowie respite and creativity, or a place for them to be creative. And so we really took that to heart from an outside in approach, and then from an inside out approach is that Bermuda's motto since the 1600s has been Quo Fata Ferant, which means whither the fates will carry us. And so taking that spirit and being able to build that, one of the best content pieces we have created is a video that really is inspired by that motto. And without any paid media behind it, in 36 hours, it had over 60,000 views. And for a 21 square mile island, that was really great engagement. So the role that we took as a DMO, again, transparency, hope and inspiration, and a destination advocate, we've taken that, and that our role within our messaging is really to provide a break in this constant news cycle, is that people can just, with our content, they can hit the escape valve. Mm-hmm. And so, for example, our team has really done a great job in creating a content calendar that has really taken us through this effort, and it is going to take us beyond this time as well. And one of those is, you know, hashtag Travel Tuesday. Everyone knows it, but we have a virtual vacay that we take people on, which is just a 15-second If you're a lover of CBS Sunday Morning like I am, think about the armchair travel they take you on as they end the show, and that's our post every Tuesday. And so the two best engagement pieces we've had during this time, one is the motto video, and two is one of our virtual vacays, which really is just, again, it's that opportunity to take people, because we're all humans, away from what we're having to deal with in our personal and professional lives constantly.
Yeah. You know, what you just said about video is the perfect segue to the next topic that I wanted to talk about, and it's recreating your presence online. We've already talked a lot about that just because using our websites and using social media are part of the fabric of everything companies do in terms of putting our messages out there. But I really wanted to drill down more on the online presence, because I really don't think enough companies are leveraging their online footprint. They're so used to doing the one-on-one communications, the in-person communications, and there are so many lessons that we can learn, especially from people like musicians and professional speakers. You know, these are individuals whose entire livelihoods rely on that one-on-one eye connection, you know? So talk a little bit more, Victoria, if you can, about the Travel Tuesday videos. What are some of the things that are being put up in terms of the visuals, and are there any voiceovers? You know, what's the messaging behind that could perhaps be an inspiration for some of the people here today?
Sure. I think I'll start with the motto video, because the motto video actually started with the script, because we've been working on Bermuda's repositioning, which we were already doing before this all hit. And so we started with the script and then built the visuals on that. And we felt that the words just really stood on their own. And we didn't use a voiceover for that reason. And I've got lots of friends in the industry, and there are plenty of these destination videos out there today. I think Lonely Planet on their page has over 100 of them now. But the way that we chose to build the storyline from the inside out and connecting to the spirit of Bermuda and Bermudians and that natural beauty, it's that genuine hospitality and natural beauty that Bermuda delivers, and that protecting that precious resource currently is going to be able to then be enjoyed by visitors later. I think that piece was really interesting. And then one of our rules that we have gone through with all of our channels is that any imagery that we use is either without individuals or has one or two people in it at the most. So that social distancing aspect we felt was really key. And that is also, when you now look at our feed, you can see that that's really been a job well done by our team. The other thing that I would say is that you can have fun, that people are looking for a bit of levity. And so we've done things, again, thinking about what's core to Bermuda, the natural beauty, the escapism, is we've taken imagery of Bermuda and we've made puzzles out of them. So we've found resources to be able to help us tell Bermuda's story in a different way. People have time on their hands. So these virtual puzzles have been really great for individuals. And we're all on a Zoom call today. And so we've done Zoom backgrounds for folks. So we have a PGA Tour golf tournament that comes to Bermuda, that its first year was last year. We're the official tourism partner for the US Open in tennis. We have obviously a storied history in sailing. So our business partners have actually started using our Zoom backgrounds in their own business environment. So they are actually carrying Bermuda's message with them in their own work environments. And then we're also with Bermuda's trivia and history, is that Thursday is Trivia and History Day. So engaging the audience and community in that. So did you know, or do you know where Blue Hole is? So being able to think through ways to engage, not just push. I think that's what Bermuda's always been about is our storytelling and lore of the island, and how do we use that to pull people through versus trying to push information towards them.
Right. Great. Great. Donna, you know, when you and I spoke the other day, you mentioned what I thought was a fantastic tip, doing a video tour, kind of like the citizen journalism approach. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have 2 co-working facilities, and I still have people inquiring about offices. And so I created a very DIY virtual tour of our office, and I had my team splice it together and put a little intro on the front and a little outro on the back. And I have to say that I think there's never been a more acceptable time and a more appropriate time to incorporate DIY videos, and it's been really well received, and it's been a great tool. So as we go forward, we will use that again and again, even as we begin to reopen, to give, because I think the idea of social media, and I think the idea of video, and Victoria hit on this as well, we need to make people feel like they're being invited into our world. And video is a really great vehicle for making that happen.
Right, right. You know, that also reminds me of a video that I saw actually this morning. I got an e-blast from a yacht builder. They have a project that's available for sale, and they decided to film a little DIY video tour of the boat. They loaded it 1 week ago. It has over 3,500 views already. That's extraordinary. Their channel on YouTube usually gets good hits, but nothing they have posted to date has had that quick of a buildup of a reaction. So there's certainly an appetite out there for this type of content, and it's really under leveraged, I believe, in our industry. Other industries have been doing it very, very effectively. So great stuff. Still on the subject of social media, this is the 4th topic I definitely want us to cover. There are creative ways to engage our communities beyond video through, say, Facebook and Instagram and other tools. So Donna, what would you recommend that people do in terms of their broader social media? I think it needs to go beyond just posting the usual pictures, and, you know, what type of messaging maybe can we just tweak again in that pivot concept to reach out to people now?
Well, 2 things. Victoria hit on the first one. We're using a lot more humor in our social media because people want levity. You know, we just, so we, you know, we post funny pictures of, you know, your coworkers. So we're using humor more and more. We find it to be very engaging. The other thing that we do, especially on LinkedIn, is we create our post on LinkedIn, but we are engaging with people in the comments section, tagging people in the comments section, asking questions in the comments section. And the reason for that is, it's engaging, but LinkedIn's algorithms are based on those comments and those posts. So using the comments section for part of your information, so my video says, you know, hope in the form of action, check out the comments for a link to my operational assessment. I'm driving my engagement deeper, especially on LinkedIn. So using the comments is something that can really help your post get more engagement and be recognized by the platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, LinkedIn is really an underutilized tool, I think, and that's terrific. I've actually been trying to be more active on it, and I've definitely seen the numbers increase for my own account.
Right.
We also have a Mega Yacht News account, and those numbers have definitely been going up too. So some great tips there. Thanks.
Right, and the obvious is, you know, tag your influencers, tag those centers of influence. I did an event with 7 other colleagues called Paths to Profit. We did a full day virtual summit. Frankly, we recorded it ahead of time. It really wasn't very difficult, but we pooled our resources and we had 400 people. That's, you know, that's a good day for anybody. So again, did I mention collaboration? Yes, I did.
Right. Victoria, how about you? What would you say are some good things that your team has been putting to use in terms of other social media channels?
Sure. Well, channel specific, Facebook has traditionally been where Bermuda's storied visitors have been. So visitors who got married in Bermuda 30 years ago, whose grandparents went to Bermuda. It's a more traditional medium. And so we've used the motto video worked very well there. We also, on Sundays, with so many people staying at home and restaurants being closed, we post Bermuda recipes on Sunday. So people are taking those and being able to use them. Instagram is where more of our aspiring or younger visitors are. So through the last 4 years, Bermuda has actually grown its tourism business and grown that, and 85% of that growth has been from people 45 years and younger. Mm-hmm. And so Instagram is where that new generation audience is. So there we're doing, it's more Instagram stories. So we've turned much more to stories in this environment. On Fridays is our virtual cheers, because everybody's like, oh my God, I made it through another week. And so everybody, you know, particularly in the sailing world, you know, knows what a dark and stormy is or a rum swizzle. So doing a virtual cheers with a recipe, or with a local bartender being able to talk about the ingredients, that's been engaging. And also that sort of hospitality content that goes to wanting and creating that desire for wanting to be in Bermuda for that virtual cheers has really worked. And then I would say in our owned channels is that we took an aggregation of that content, and we really were talking through our own consumer email database that's between 250 and 300,000 individuals. And we struggled in April about what we were going to send. And we said, you know, people are, particularly, you know, the majority of our visitors are from the Northeast. So they are very much cooped up. And so we did a roundup of that content to push out. And it's the best open rate and click-through rate of any email we've ever done. And so I thought that was a really good testament to what the team had put together in terms of content that lived on social originally, but repurposed into our consumer newsletter. So I would encourage, because I know there's a lot of small businesses, and we're small businesses, that don't just think about one and done with your content. Think about how you might aggregate or repurpose or retell a story. So about tagging your influencers is another great way to do that. And again, you know, scale of audience and being able to bring more people into the conversation is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again,
you know, Diane,
I'm sorry, Donna, go ahead.
Yeah, just before you go on, you know, I know we're talking about social media, but I just have to put a plug, and Victoria said it as well. Email marketing is still a very, very, very cost-efficient way to be reaching your audience. And surprisingly, because there's so much content out there, our opens and click-through rates are historically high. So it's being solution-oriented and being a resource.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can attest to that too. Actually, we do a monthly newsletter for Mega Yacht News, and our click-through, our open rate, I should say, has been exceeding 40% over the past 2 to 3 months. That, if you look at the numbers, if you have Constant Contact or MailChimp, any of you who are on your marketing teams, if you look at what the average is for your industry, and then you look at your own open rates and your click-through rates, you can see where you stand. Our open rate is 2 to 3 times higher than the average for a media company. And that just speaks volumes about how you can learn how to present the right things. That definitely did not happen overnight for us. I can tell you, it took some trial and error. But when you know you're hitting the right marks, you're just going to keep soaring. So definitely leverage your email marketing. I can't agree more with both of you on that. And then our final tip, that a lot of what we're all just talking about a moment ago about the messaging in the media, there's a way to work with your local media. And I mean more than just the yachting media. Everybody on this call knows yachting journalists. They know who covers the crew world, who covers the B2B world, etc. I'm talking about your local media, your say state newspaper, your small local newspapers, local bloggers, television, even TV stations. so few members of our industry ever reach out to the quote unquote traditional media. And I think there's a missed opportunity there. So Donna, can you give some insight into perhaps how a conversation could be started, again, with the mindset of us trying to be more service oriented than selling oriented?
Yes, and I will give you a tip that someone gave me years ago that I still use. It is a website called helpareporter.com.
Yeah.
It's called Harrow. And
helpareporterout.com. Yeah.
There's no out in there. It's
Oh, there
actually
isn't in the website?
helpareporter.com. And so every day I get this, you pick what your categories are, and every day I get this aggregation of reporters that are looking for information. Actually, I get it 3 times a day. That's my #1 way to engage media. I look at what they're looking for. Do I have something of value to add? They're typically short, tight deadlines. I've been in the Wall Street Journal, I've been in Dun & Bradstreet, and they come from these opportunities. So big and small are using it. But also, again, just in line with everything that we're saying, is if you have a local paper that you want to try and participate in, first of all, you share, Victoria, use that same content that you already have and cross-purpose it as possibly an article for a paper. But the other thing I'll say is right now, as far as print goes, you can definitely negotiate rates. So that's another, we did that with our summit. So help a reporter out, and it's about relationships, build relationships and be memorable, and they'll call on you.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. Victoria, how about you? What are some of the steps that you and the stakeholders are using? Obviously, you're always talking to the Bermuda based media, but what about some of the other media that, maybe somebody hasn't reached out to in some time or is going to look to reach out to for the first time?
Certainly. So with travel editors and writers being grounded, a lot of our regular outlets are looking for content because they have more audience than they've ever had, particularly digitally. So it's while their ad revenue might not be great right now or really hurting, their eyeball traffic is great. So we have taken the content again that we used in our own channels, but we've pitched it to other outlets. So we've been in roundups of Take a Virtual Vacation or Escape on Forbes, Thrillist, Travel and Leisure. We've also leveraged the relationships that we have. So Jackie Gifford, who is now the editor-in-chief at Travel and Leisure magazine, I originally met her years ago when she was a travel reporter for OK magazine. We actually invited her for the first time to Bermuda in 2017 around America's Cup, and she and her husband fell in love with Bermuda. They since have a child, and their favorite vacation is being able to just hop that 90-minute flight from New York to Bermuda to hit the escape valve. And so during this time, she and her editors had a roundup that they did, which is 17 places we can't wait to travel back to when this is all over. And Jackie's pick led, and that was Bermuda. So that piece of content was on their website, was in an email marketing that they did. She allowed us, which this never happens, she allowed us to repurpose that quote into what was to be a paid ad, which they worked with us on because we are a partner with them in our annual marketing partnership that is on their June issue, which is coming out now. So those kinds of relationships to leverage are really important, but it's also what they need. So you're not just thinking about pushing, again, you're thinking about trying to solve for a problem. The other thing in the industry, and I'm not sure of the participants today, what segment of the super yacht industry they represent, but it's, we all want good news stories these days, and the give-get of what your business might be able to do to support your community. That's where I think the local aspect, Diane, that you're asking about, I know a lot of your members are in the Florida area. I've been in Florida since mid-March. That opportunity to be a force of good, and whether that's with your own employees, whether that's with your own community, that level of meaning is important. And in Bermuda alone, the Chamber of Commerce just worked to create a new charity that is just focused on restaurant workers. And so that actually was just published yesterday, and that is something that these folks are in dire need. And out of crisis comes opportunity. I think there's a Chinese symbol for that. But the opportunity to be human and to be able to think about how your business can serve a need and also serve your business for the long term, I think is a tremendous opportunity, particularly for your membership base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said. Definitely well said. Great. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about some of the information that has been presented so far? We have, let's see, we have some chats down here. Julie, where's Julie? There we go. There's Julie's Sack. Should I be reading them off, or?
Most of the notes were just people commenting and some links for places to go.
Oh yeah, sorry. Just in case anybody hasn't been looking at the notes here, Donna shared a great tip. Watch the TED Talk, How Great Leaders Inspire Action by Simon Sinek. That's who we were talking about at the beginning of the webinar. It is absolutely a game changer. I cannot recommend him enough. I mean, if I ever met him, I would probably do fangirling. He's brilliant. And
he's as great in person.
Really excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent to know. He seems extremely approachable. It's phenomenal. Great tip here from oh gosh, my vision is killing me today. I'm going to botch your name and I apologize in advance. Estebals Hidalgo. We did the Zoom backgrounds with photos from your marinas. Yes, your marinas. Marina Pezuela in Costa Rica. Great. Definitely. There are a couple of companies actually that I've seen who've done these Zoom backgrounds, and I got to tell you, I downloaded them all. They're so much fun. And Help a Reporter, you can register. Donna just posted this here, I believe. Or no, Julie Perry. You can follow Harrow, which is Help a Reporter, out on Twitter. Sometimes they post the same day deadlines. Reporters have a really tight deadline. They post the needs there. So that's twitter.com/helpareporter. Or you can also register as a source on their website. Yes, absolutely do that too at helpareporter.com. You never know when you can be of service to somebody. And to answer one of the questions posted here, yes, we will email everybody these lists of resources after this chat. Both Victoria and Donna each have some other materials that they want to share with you that we didn't go into detail on here, knowing it would be a great opportunity to present to you afterwards. Sorry, Deborah, I broke up when mentioning the video, so sorry. That is Simon Sinek. Here we go. It is the TED Talk. So if you just Google the TED Talk Simon Sinek, if you want to Google the actual full name, it's How Great Leaders Inspire Action. There may be a few great videos of him online. And yeah. Yes. Oops. All of his videos are worth watching. Absolutely. He has a channel. Thank you, Julie. youtube.com/user/Simon Sinek. Again, we will collect all of these resources and share them with you. Any other questions from anybody? Taking a quick look. Nope. Okay, good. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Deborah and Victoria, huge thanks for your fantastic insight and sharing your views with us today. Right? I know I definitely learned a lot. I actually grabbed my pen and started jotting down some notes. Victoria, when you were talking about the 17 places we can't wait to visit again, I wrote a note because that's a fantastic story idea for us. It's not going to be 17. I'll change the number, but I love the idea.
And I hope
Great.
that
It's our pleasure.
everybody enjoyed it nearly as much as I did. I don't know what happened to Victoria. I was going to say, I hope that she has a Bermuda-ful day. I got one experience, one time to go to Bermuda for a very short time, was in and out to make a speech to a bunch of bankers about the super yacht industry many years ago. And I would love to go back and once things open. And I just loved that expression, have a Bermuda-ful day. It just kind of speaks everything to you. And I know that I got a ton out of today, and thank you so much to Donna and Victoria and Diane for such great mind-filling ideas. I've made a bazillion notes while we were chatting, and thank you so much. We'd love to have you guys come back at any time and stay in touch with us as much as you are willing. I encourage everybody who's on here to follow US Super Yacht Association on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well, because we'll constantly be keeping you updated. Julie Perry and Robert Perry do a fantastic job of keeping all of our social media relevant and moving forward. So all of this details and things you can often find on those pages. Again, don't forget the Palm Beach Boat Show, the virtual show is happening today, as well as the American Boating Congress, and some very significant speakers are lined up for today's programming. That is available on the US Super Yacht Association website. And then next Thursday, as I always say, the same time, same bat channel, next Thursday, 11:30, we're talking about safety, getting back to work. Lindsay Massilian from Fowler White Burnett, a labor law attorney, Ryan Journey from Gator Janitorial, and Chris Coleman from Oversea Yacht Insurance will be there to give you the tips and really important aspects to think about as you open your businesses up to protect both you, your company, and your employees. And once again, thank you so much from all of us here at US Super Yacht Association. We couldn't do this everything we do without you. If you're not a member and you're just visiting us because you heard about it, we encourage you to join. And then if you are a member, we encourage you to reach out to some of your friends and colleagues and tell them about the hard work that we're continuing to do in the industry. I see our esteemed treasurer is also on the line, John Fitzgerald. And I thought I saw Melissa Orlick as well, one of our other board members. And we have people, Gabriel Lee, all the way from Western Mexico. So from all over the world, we appreciate it. From all of us to all of you, we love you. Thank you so much. And stay safe, stay well, and we'll look forward to seeing you all next Thursday here and ussuperyacht.com. Love us. Thanks. Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Have a great
everybody.
day.